Mocha Melodies, Part 4, Coffee and Beats album review. Alex Isley, When the City Sleeps. Welcome to another edition of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent, back with another episode. And before I get into Part 4, our final part to our Mocha Melody series, hit all of those reminders on the side of me. That way you can get notified every time I post a new video. Now, enough of me rambling. Let's get to this review. Welcome back to our Mocha Melodies series, Part 4. Ladies and gentlemen, you have finally made it to the finish line. One more album celebrating women of R&B, soul, of the modern era, right? People say,
oh, there's not any good R&B out anymore.
Well, I just gave you guys three. If you haven't watched those, watch those episodes. I touched on Kehlani in Volume 1, her new album. We also have Jessie Ware, which is not necessarily R&B soul albums, more disco, house infused type of music. So go check that out. And also the new Yaya Bay album, which I think is one of the best albums of the year. This next performance is one of my personal favorite artists, and it's none other than Alex Isley. Yes, Alex Isley is back with her new album. This is her first major record label debut album, When the City Sleeps. It was released on March 20th, 2026. So I'm a little late to the party reviewing this project. I could not pass up an Alex Isley review, mainly because I think back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, her last album, Marigold, finished first in my top 25 albums of 2022. So it's only fitting that I do a follow-up review on her new major label debut. And she describes it as a snapshot of her thoughts, and you can really hear that with this record. It's calm, it's reflective, built around that quiet moment when the world slows down. She linked up with some heavy hitters too, James Fauntleroy and also Sid from the internet, and producers like Kaytranada and Duro Camper also contribute some solid, polished production from top to bottom on this particular record. In my first listen, this whole album was definitely a vibe. I'm thinking about Alex Isley. One of the things that I caught on to was she had some songs on here that were already familiar from her EP from last year. And the name of that EP was called When. And I would say all of these tracks on When are also featured on this new record. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong about that. I am open to criticism here on Coffee and Beats. But yes, a lot of familiarity with this album, even though there are some newer songs sprinkled into this project. And of course, what we have here is 15 tracks of lovely R&B music that is definitely for the soul. Now, Holding On was featured on that EP that dropped last year on When, and it's a super warm intro track. It feels like you're easing into this album. Her vocals are soft but controlled. It sets the tone, sets the perfect tempo for the rest of the album. And then you have Alone, and this one hits emotionally. It's simple. Moonlight on Vermont is also a highlight of the album. Real smooth, almost cinematic, feels like you're driving through the city night with excellent R&B soul vibes, one of the more standout vibes on the album. And then of course you got Mike On, which Kaytranada also produced one of my favorite tracks from last season of music. So thunderous production to go along with that smooth, laid back tone. The laid back voice of Alex Isley actually worked very well here. And then you have her biggest highlight, might be the biggest song off of this album. It just jumps off the page, and it's the song that's dedicated to the West Coast, West Side. It's a beautiful trip. You can feel the love for the West Coast all over this one. It has a super chill vibe, but it's still something you can do a little sea walk to, a little sea walk. I thought that was a nice little switch up there, a nice little mini risk that Alex Isley took. Alex is not always about the laid back, sing, whisper, sweet lullabies in your ear. She can turn it up. She can turn up. She proved that with West Side. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't seen the video to West Side, I think you need to check it out. Or I don't know if it's a video. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I do remember seeing a clip of her doing a sea walk or something like that to West Side. So I thought that was pretty dope. And again, you have other songs. One of my favorite personal songs on this album is Starry Eyes. This song took me back to the Marigold era of Alex Isley. It's dreamy, it's slightly playful, but still smooth. And it added a real nice touch to this record. Of course, you have Hands and also When the City Sleeps. Nice duet there with James Fontelero. And also Sweet Lullabies, which is the second single off this project, is very good. It's very catchy. It feels like a warm hug from Alex Isley here. And then the closer track, Maybe Again, is a great closer. Leaves you in this reflective space. It doesn't do too much. It just ends the album on a smooth note. If I had to nitpick as far as my critiques on the album, I'm gonna have to go with Fool's Gold. Still not a bad song. It just doesn't stand out with the rest of the track list for me. And then you'll be surprised, and I know I'm gonna get hate in the comment section for this, but PCH didn't hit me. I'm sorry, it didn't hit me. It was a little bit too mellow for me. I got excited when I saw Sid as a featured artist on this album. And I was like, man, Sid and Alex Isley, match made in heaven. And listen, the vocals are beautiful. The trade between two of the artists, one person does one verse, the other person, it was really nice. A nice exchange of beautiful, angelic vocals from both sides. I just wish the production had more thump to it. And I think that's the problem that I had with the track. But other than that, Sid still delivered on her feature. No hate here, guys. It just wasn't my favorite track on the track list. And then you got Thank You for a Lovely Time, which is nice. It's a nice concept, but it kind of faded into the background for me. But my thoughts on this album: the production is clean, has a lot of soft textures to it. The smooth bass lines, the subtle grooves are here. Nothing feels forced. Kaytranada adds some bounce where it needed. The rest of the album keeps that mellow late night consistency. Everything feels like it belongs, and there's no random overproduced tracks here. Overall, my last thoughts on here: Alex Isley didn't try to reinvent anything here with her, even though she's with a new label, with a new major label. She didn't need to. She leaned into what she does best: smooth vocals, calm energy, and emotional honesty. With that being said, I give When the City Sleeps 4 coffee cups. Actually 4.3 coffee cups, fire coffee cups out of 5. This is smooth, it's relaxing, it's perfectly curated for those late night listening parties. Alex Isley, keep up the fine work. I think this is a very good project. Can't wait to see you in concert too when you come to Chicago. And that will do it for this edition of Coffee and Beats. Thank you for tuning in to all 4 parts. If you watched all 4 parts of the Mocha Melodies series, hit me up in the comment section and say, Rodney, I am here with you. I listened to all 4 of these albums, and thank you so much for these recommendations. If you haven't, go backtrack. I got all the links down at the bottom, so stay tuned or tap in and listen to those episodes. Listen to these albums after you hear these episodes or before, and give me your thoughts and opinions on them. Until then, this wraps up the Mocha Melody series. I'm your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. When it comes to coffee, when it comes to music, stay grounded for life. I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.